Thanks for logging on and joining us for the first show of this year for the Nationwide Preview Show, where we navigate all of the news and notes from NASCAR's Nationwide Series. Now joining us in Charlotte is NASCAR's own, TNT's own, Ralph Shaheen. He's going to help us navigate all these changes in 2011. Thanks so much for joining us, Ralph.
My pleasure, Nikki. We'll do the best we can because, boy, they sure made a lot of them.
They sure did. Now, we're going to get into that more extensively in a minute. Now, in particular, we really want to talk about this pick a series rule. That's where the drivers had to choose one championship to pursue this year. And here to give us a little bit more on that are the drivers themselves.
I think the point system is going to be really cool. I think that's going to be, I think it's going to get a lot of the nationwide drivers more involved, you know, every week as far as our battles go, you know, because we know that one of us is going to be the champion. So I think that's cool. And then also, you know, how many points you get for each position. Whether you're battling for 26th and 27th, you're going to make the same difference as the guy battling for second or third. You know, it's that 1 point difference all the way through. So I think it's going to make racing good all the way through the field.
One of the biggest changes that the fans are going to notice is the fact that the Cup guys can't, they have to pick which series that they're going to race for points in. It's actually making a lot different for us as well. You know, obviously I chose the Nationwide Series. There's going to be a lot of these guys that are going to be in this race that have either chosen the trucks or Cup as well. So that's going to change things a lot.
All right, so Ralph, if you could please break down these new rules, these changes, how they're going to affect the drivers out there on the track, the pursuit of a championship, and do you think they were a good move on NASCAR's part?
Yeah, you know, I think it was a pretty good idea. This is a subject matter that has been talked about as long as I can remember, going back 2, 3, 4 different name changes for the series. You know, there's always been that question of how much should we allow NASCAR's premier division drivers to come back down to the second tier series, the Nationwide Series, and almost cherry pick wins or cherry pick championships. That's how it was perceived by some of the fans out there. I think for the Nationwide guys it pays off because they're still going to get to race against Carl Edwards and Tony Stewart and Brad Keselowski. So they'll see, what do I need to know if I'm Trevor Bayne? What do I need to know when I make that jump to the bigger division in a year or two? How am I going to be racing those guys on a weekly basis? So I think this is going to win out for both. We'll see the guys who are the younger drivers now getting a shot at the championship on a legitimate basis each and every week. Gives those teams something to then go and shop to potential sponsors and say, hey, look, we are the best team in the Nationwide Series, and this might be a championship driver now who can then take that and help get himself a good ride if and when he moves up to the Cup Tour.
Besides all these rules changes, we also have a new track surface, a new car. Give us a little bit of a preview of what we can expect this weekend in Daytona.
Well, I think the car is fantastic. I think NASCAR fans across the board would tell you this new look of race car is really what they want to see. And we already know that it has struck a chord with the fans because we're hearing from NASCAR that they're going to be looking at moving these body styles on up to the Cup division in the coming years. And they had 45 cars show up and enter this weekend's race at Daytona. That's great news. So it's working. What NASCAR's trying to do here is paying off. The fans are happy, the drivers are happy, the car looks good, and it's fast. And they've worked on the aero drag, so we expect really good racing on this pool table smooth, ultra quick new racetrack.
All right, Saturday is just around the corner. Now, you're our expert, and I'm going to ask you to put it on the line. Who should we be looking for in the lead this weekend in Saturday's Drive for COPD 300?
Nikki, I love the fact you called me an expert, but obviously we need to talk because I don't know that much. But I can tell you what I do. I can tell you what I do think is going to happen here. I like Tony Stewart going into this race for a couple of reasons. One, Tony doesn't run a ton of nationwide races. He loves the nationwide race at Daytona. Some of the most exciting moves I've seen Tony make behind the wheel of a race car have come in this race at Daytona in the Nationwide Series. All of these Cup Series drivers need as much track time as they can get to learn this new service to get ready for the 500 come Sunday. So I look for a Cup Tour veteran to get the Nationwide Series victory in this weekend's COPD 300 down there at Daytona, and I'm going to take Stewart to be that guy.
All right, well, I'm going to go with experience too, but I'm going to kind of go a different angle. And if fans at home have been watching our fantasy show, they know that Marty Snyder picked this guy as a guy not to watch, but I'm going to pick him as a guy to watch, and that's Trevor Bayne. And the reason I said experience is because he went down there and he tested for the Wood Brothers on this new track surface. And if you were watching the Daytona 500 qualifying this past Sunday, he almost made the front row. And for a nationwide driver like him, who hasn't had a lot of experience, I think that's something to be said, and I think he's one to watch out there. Ralph, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate your insight.
All right, Nikki, thanks. I look forward to doing this with you every week.
Awesome, and thank you all for logging on to NASCAR.com for this week's edition of the Nationwide Preview. Be sure to check back next week as we preview the Phoenix race.